The national anthem. Please let all rise as we take the national anthem. The state's anthem. 1, 2, go. And the Ilisan anthem. Ilisan Together as we take our seat. Very quickly, I shall be handing over the microphone to the president, the Ilisan Club, as he takes the roll call of dignitaries here present. I'll be handing over the microphone to the president, CIC, as he does the roll call of dignitaries here present. The Yoruba says, "Ènìyàn báyìí láti gbọ́kàn." Tó tó ṣe bí òwe yẹn àgbàlagbà bá mi pàtẹ́wọ́ fún president tó wá sá.
Honorable commissioners in attendance, Kabiyesi, the Luncheon of Ilisan and his retinue. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to this event, which is the beginning of the 60th anniversary celebrations of Ilisan Club. It is a celebration that we're expecting will span this whole year because it's the 60th anniversary of the club. Indeed, the club was established, the first meeting was held on the 22nd of April, 1962. But to the issue on hand, it is my pleasure to introduce the chairman of the occasion and some of our special guests on this table. The chairman is my old friend and compatriot, a friend of maybe 60 years or a little more, because we attended high school. We went to school, primary and high school in this area, certainly more than 60 years. He is a manager's manager. He read economics at the University of Ibadan and made his mark in the oil business in very early days when he worked for the BP, the British Petroleum, which became AP. And then he was the founder of Eternal Oil, PLC. Today, his main job, not that he earns money from it, but the main preoccupation by way of passion and commitment is the Remo Growth and Development Foundation, which ties the whole of Remo together. That person is Mr. Tunji Lawal Sholani, sitting to my immediate left. It is also my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker of the day, When this topic was decided, I called His Excellency, the governor, and I said, can you give me somebody who can speak about the future economy of the state, or the new economy of the state, because it's not future, it's already started. And he didn't think twice when he mentioned my Aburo, a most worthy economist. He is a partner in KPMG, one of the leading consulting companies in the country and in the world. And that was where he made his mark and distinguished himself before accepting the call to be the Commissioner for Finance in Ogun State and the Chief Economic Advisor of the state. That person is Mr. Jacob Okubadijo. You are most welcome. So his immediate right is one of the shakers of the present day Ogun State. Whereas Mr. Okubadijo puts the money together, he is the one who spends it all. I have wished to be in his position. Because in terms of infrastructural development, roads, bridges, airport, and now they're starting the seaport. What has happened in the life of this administration, and I can say so authoritatively, is totally unprecedented. Over 400 kilometers of roads, and it has been spread right across, the state. Even here in Ilisan, in the heart of Ilisan, I don't think there's anybody here who has seen what we have seen in recent time in terms of road development. Or you cool, because they haven't done the one in front of my house. And they just have to do that one for me. Not to jump in lag. I bet to only the voice of the people is the voice of God. But the man, a consummate engineer, world class, because he's been involved in road and bridge making. He's an expert on bridge making in different parts of the world, particularly in California. That is where he came from. And we're lucky to have him. He's brought tremendous amount of experience. And that is the benefit that, and I'm always calling him about roads in addition. This Agorwe road, I troubled him about this Imperial edition to Shimon. I said, you must turn it into Dwakaribu. And I troubled him about Taske, about the roads there. And they're working on it. It's easy to criticize, but when you carry the can, it is quite a task. So, but they have delivered, and they have delivered well. And that person is our own, from a distinguished family in our area. Now my wife won't let me. She has eaten delicious for 50 years, and she still got Ike. Well, the man of the moment, Honorable Engineer Ade Akisanya. Before I sit down, I should also introduce he is a discussant today. We'll hear from him. And our other discussant is a lady who I have on quite a number of occasions played golf with, and amazed by the amount of work that she's doing in Ogun State by way of housing development. And that person is the daughter of an old friend of mine who has gone to glory. But she is a true child of her father, and she's doing great things in housing development. And that person is Joy Ayonote. They're spending her money in Ogun State. I think that is, you don't give a lawyer a microphone and just expect that it's going to be easy. But I think I will stop there for the time being. Thank you very much. We are welcome.
Please can we put our hands together for that wonderful recognition that the chairman has done. Please let's put those hands together very well for the chairman and for the president. I beg your pardon. Ladies and gentlemen, the Olori of the #1 citizen in TIC, our own Olori Adefulu Omo Ikene Ireke. I know she wants to hear that. I know she wants to hear that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, guests and friends, we're going back to the chief for the president of the Ilisan Club, our home prince, Yemi Adefulu, MFR, for his presidential speech. Mr. President, we are coming back to you again. What do you have in stock? In English like that, with the president to do justice to his speech. So it's going to be a panel thing. So let's have you both doing justice to this.
So at this junction, public greets to be welcome Otumba TLS to the state, sir. And from here, he's going to take over the discourse for this event. Within 30 minutes, we should be done with this discourse. Thank you. A round of applause for TLS.
High table for the discourse. And also, to join them this afternoon is our own engineer, Akin Sawyer. Ladies and gentlemen, guests and friends, I'll be willing to hand over the microphone to the president as he kickstarts the discourse. Mr. President.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, my remarks will be short. You'll find on page 16 what has been tagged as the President's remarks. I will commend to everybody who wants to know about the club to look at pages 12 to 15, which is a peep into the early history of the club. it is not perfect, but it was a tremendous work of one of our past presidents, by way of just notes. It also embodies some interesting parts of Ilisan development and history. We are still going to work on it further, but it provides us with a good starting point on the history of the Ilisan Club. I will also refer you to what has been tagged as the President's remarks on pages 16 to 19, which I'm not going to read. Again, it talks of some of the things that we have done in the past 4 years, and some of the guiding philosophy of the Ilisan Club. One more time, I welcome you. All I just want to say is that there are those people who make history, and there are those who watch as history passes them by. I don't have any doubts in my mind that we are in historic times in this area in Ogun State. I don't have any doubt about it. I'm not suggesting that anything is perfect, and I'm not suggesting that everybody is very, very happy. There probably will never come such a time, but it is still not less historic. The Bible records that the children of Issachar, they knew the signs of the times. It is a wonderful thing for a person to be able to read and know the signs of the times, because then you can key into it. With the huge industrialization that is going on, with the huge infrastructural development that is going on, I've mentioned some of them. The train from Lagos to Abeokuta, pass to Ibadan, and so on. The roads, Abeokuta to Nestle, where the city gate is. The tremendous industrialization that is happening in that place. The cargo airport that is, we saw it this morning when we went on a visit, and everybody, even though it is not complete, marveled at it. The Ilisan to Agoiwoye road that is on. The African Development Bank agri-processing zone that is also slated, for this zone. The Epe to Ijebu-Ode road, which links Ogun with Lagos on the other side, are all harbingers of progress and of development. Massive infrastructural development. There's also the Ikorodu-Sagamu road, which is very substantially completed. And Papa Lanto to Nestle is also going to start soon. This is a lot of work. And the concern of the Ilisan Club is that we must know the signs of the times and know how we are going to key into this. Ogun State is ready for business. It is time to go home. This is the center of a new development. Whatever you can do, whether it is agriculture or it is an industry, even if it is a small one. And I can tell you that there is a lot of effort in that direction already being done. It is important for us to key into it. Yes, the bandits are there, the marauders are there, and there's concerning signs of insecurity here and there. But in spite of all of that, just wait and stand by for those opportunities to pass by. That is the purpose of the RGDF, the Remo Growth and Development Foundation. That is the purpose of the ITIPR in the Yabo district, something, you know. Yeah, for poverty, reduction. That is the purpose of some of our organizations around here. And that is why the Ilisan Development Association is also pushing. And we in the Ilisan Club are setting up what we call Ilisan, Ilisan Social Development Enterprise. It is time to go home. Okawo, Inaso, so this is the time for us to really sit down and work on what we don't have. Infrastructure, what can we do? The Ilisan Club is proud that in the past 60 years, it focused on development. We are a leadership club, and we have striven very hard to try to lift this society up from where we met it. So it is I pay homage to all those who are president before me. They did a titanic amount of work. And I'm happy that we have contributed a little quota. Later on today, we shall be welcoming into the club 10 very distinguished Ilisan sons from different professions, including some lawyers, some entrepreneurs, big entrepreneurs. Adrian Holmes is joining us today, and so is Mr. Dukale, the MD of Leadway and chairman of First Bank, and so on and so forth. And some of our Ilisan sons who are abroad, who have done exceedingly well in their chosen fields. I am enthused by their passion and their desire to serve. Even now as we speak, you can be sure that even though some of them are not here, they are hooked on. And this event is being streamed, live. I welcome them all. And I thank you all for joining us today. We are going to welcome any donations that you are going to give us, which is entirely at your discretion. But you can be sure that so large and so expansive are our programs that we surely can do with money. Some people have already sent some money to us, and we're expecting more. Thank you very much. You are most welcome.
Occasion, the president of the Ilisan Club, the honorable commissioners hereby present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dapo Okubadejo. I'm highly honored to be the Commissioner for Finance and the Chief Economic Advisor for the state government. First off, I think that the topic of today's discussion is actually very interesting. And I'm particularly very pleased that a club like TIC has taken interest in the development of the economy of this state, but also how the citizenry can actually take full advantage of the enormous opportunities that will be coming from the economic transformation that's actually going on in the state at the moment. The vision of His Excellency, Prince Dapo Abiodun MFR, is actually very much aligned with the domestication of the significant economic opportunities that will be coming for the benefit of our people. So his vision is really to create a focused and qualitative governance and create an enabling environment for public-private partnership for the development of the state and also for the individual prosperity of our people. So first is to have world-class governance. His Excellency aspires to run government that will be accountable, that will follow the rule of law, that will also be very transparent as well. So world-class governance is one of the key attributes of his vision. The second, of course, is to create an enabling environment. Creating an enabling environment is to make it easy for potential investors to come into state and invest. And then realizing that this cannot be done by government alone, we've also just recently enacted the public-private partnership law that will make it possible and provide the regulatory framework for private sector investments within the state, for the development of the state, but more importantly, for the individual prosperity of our people. When I look at the topic of this particular discourse, talking about the new economy, and you begin to wonder what is the difference between the old economy and the new economy. Obviously, the main features of a modern economy are the changes taking place in the economy in terms of social and economic structure through a controlled process of increased production of goods and services. In a nutshell, it's really around increasing productivity, leveraging on technology, and also ensuring a job-led growth and development, meaning that the development in any particular state or country, if it's not domesticated, if it's not for the benefit of the people locally, then we would have missed the opportunities that such development actually created. At the beginning of this administration, after setting the vision, we then decided to come up with what we refer to as our economic development framework. So the objectives of our economic development program is really to promote Ogun State as the fastest growing economy in Nigeria. And to be able to achieve that, we must be growing at 25%. And then the key economic goals that we set for ourselves are 5 in nature. First is to ensure real sector economic growth. Second is job creation. Third is poverty alleviation. Fourth is food security. And then the last one is increased investment. If you look at those 5, you'd realize that any economic development initiative that does not take cognizance of these key objectives will definitely just be like a waste. We must reduce poverty. We must reduce the gap between the rich and the poor. The Gini coefficients must be restructured and rebalanced such that a lot more of our people will begin to enjoy the dividends of democracy. Food security is one that cannot be overemphasized, particularly when you look at what is happening in the world today, with the war going on between Ukraine and Russia, and then the significant disruption to global supply chain, particularly in the areas of wheat and other agricultural commodities. It's actually going to be a major problem. There's a huge food crisis that is coming up. So we want to believe that it is important that we focus on this. How do we want to deliver on these objectives? First is to reform government institutions. A lot of our institutions in government, they are outdated. They're very obsolete. The processes are not as efficient as they should be. The second is fiscal policy trust. What are we going to do to ensure that we begin to rebalance the economic structure within the state itself? And then, of course, private sector participation. So that led us to the development of our Ishaya framework. So our development pillars, or the sectors through which we're going to implement our economic development programs, we acronymed it Ishaya. Ishaya, as you know, is the state anthem, and literally means let's get to work, because in Ogun State, we're very hardworking people. So I is for infrastructure, and infrastructure obviously covers all aspects of infrastructure. And you can say both physical and social infrastructure. But obviously it includes transport infrastructure, road, rail, seaport and airport, telecoms infrastructure, obviously, power, which is energy, and also the likes as well. The second S is social welfare and well-being. And this is the aspect that really concerns our people. How will our people fare in all of the things that the government is doing? So social welfare includes housing, for instance, the provision of affordable homes, healthcare, water, sanitation and waste management, environment and the likes. So that's social welfare and well-being. Education is E, and human capacity development, because without an educated society, then it's really going to be very difficult for the multiplier effect of the economic development initiatives to really move very, very fast. So education is very critical, and covering all the aspects of education, from early child to primary to secondary to tertiary, and also technical and vocational education training as well. Why is youth empowerment? As you know, that a significant percentage of the population bracket in Nigeria, almost 60+%, is youth. And if we don't do something about the youth in terms of serious empowerment, then I think that it's just going to be a ticking bomb. And then lastly is agriculture. Agriculture, because of the fact that of the 16,762 square kilometers space that Ogun State occupies, 74% of it is suitable for agriculture. And so that really is our competitive and comparative advantages. Again, when you look at the proximity to Lagos as well. So how do we take advantage of this resource that we have in Ogun State, also for the benefits of the economy and also for our people? So that's how we've been able to develop this economic framework, from the vision to the economic goals we want to achieve, to how we want to do it, and then the development pillars through which we want to deliver on all of this. In time past, we've heard a lot of stories about Ogun State to Lagos, similar to New Jersey to New York. But the problem has always been the vision and also the implementation strategies. How are we going to be able to deliver on this particular thing? We've got a lot of things going for us in Ogun State. Location is one big advantage. We're very near the biggest economy in Nigeria and the 4th or 5th largest in the whole of Africa. But how are we taking advantage of it? How do we ensure that we do not allow the development pressures from Lagos to overtake us in Ogun State? We are 6 times bigger than Lagos, yet Lagos is already fully congested now, but how do we prepare to take advantage of all the opportunities that we will get from it? And fundamentally, when you look at the economic structure of Lagos, Lagos is really a service-based economy. It's a state that is enjoying the benefits of the development, the federal government developmental structures that it left there when Lagos was the capital of Nigeria. You know, you have the airport, you have the Apapa port, you have a lot of bridges, you know, and roads that have actually been done in Lagos State. So really, and it's a state that also has a very high proportion of middle to high income earners, with almost about 22 million people. Contrast that to Ogun State. Ogun State is just, you know, depending on the statistics you see, is between 5 million to 7 million, as you will see it somewhere. The census has not been done. So which means that we really do not have the population. So the question is, how do we attract people to come and live in Ogun State? That's number one. Number two is, how do we attract the high and middle income earners to come and live in Ogun State? Where are they going to live? Where is the infrastructure that will handle all of that traffic? The state is also referred to as the gateway state. We are truly the gateway state, not only because we share boundaries with 4 states in Nigeria, but because you cannot pass through Lagos to any part of this country, either by road, by rail, by air, or by sea, without passing through Ogun State. So that is why we are a gateway state. So how do we convert these competitive advantage to our benefit? How do we provide this much needed infrastructure to enable us to begin to transform our economy, also for the benefit of our people? So if our goal is to achieve the fastest growing economy in this state, then we need to begin to plan the development in a very, very strategic way, not in a haphazard way. Strategic way because we have these competitive advantages. Our location. We are bordering a state that is the biggest in Nigeria and also in Africa, the 4th largest in Africa. So the question is, how do we ensure that we facilitate the free movement of resources and people in and out of Lagos? And that's one of the reasons you see all our border towns, Ekpe-Ijebu Road, we've done it. It's a 14-kilometer toll road. We're doing the Ato Agbara Lusada Road, 19 kilometers. It's almost 70% complete. We are going to commission that road by the grace of God this year. We have facilitated the construction of Ikorodu, Ogijo, Shagamu Road as well, through the federal government tax credit. So the question is that when the tax credit scheme was introduced, the first thing that came to our mind is to quickly find and work with companies that have the capacity to use their respective tax credits to help facilitate them using their tax credit for a road construction or development in Ogun State. In the same vein, we've also assisted and facilitated the Papalanto to Ilaro Road by Dangote Industries, in addition to the 55 kilometers from from Ekpe to Ijebode through Ala, Idowa, then Ijebode as well. And we're currently working to facilitate other such roads, especially the Ota-Abeokuta Road, which is a big problem. The reason we're doing all of this is to be able to open up these areas. And just imagine, as we're doing this, we're also acquiring all the land in the area where we are spending so much on infrastructure, so that the people will not go and encroach on those lands. Because the moment you put a road there, then you see all sorts of people. We do not want to have a repeat of Mowe Bafo that's almost come to Islam. So as we put road, we acquire it, we master plan it, and we begin to develop the master plan either through a mixed-use real estate or we do industrial estate, what we have referred to as economic development clusters. The next thing, of course, is the opportunities we want to create from this infrastructure spend. Hence the establishment of economic development clusters. We have recently introduced about 6 new economic development clusters. The first one is the Ijebu Economic Development Cluster around the Epe Ijebu Road. That's a 10,000 hectares of land that will be developed into so many cities. So we have an MSME park there, we have a smart city there, we have an automobile city there, we have a medical city there. Because the real concept of these economic development clusters is to further make Ogun State to be competitive. Is to make it easy for investors and industrialists to use or see Ogun State as their preferred investment destination. And the only way to do that is to ensure that the cost of doing business in Ogun State is reduced to the barest minimum. Don't forget that we're having the recently signed Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, which essentially has thrown Nigeria and other parts of Africa as a single economic bloc. And people or countries will be shipping and transporting goods, so if you don't make your own location cost effective, cost efficient, if you don't make it easy for people to invest in, then they are free to site their industries in other parts of Nigeria or even other parts of Africa. So the economic development clusters will come with baseline infrastructure. As most of you know, today, most companies are really the ones providing their basic infrastructure, the water, security, energy, and the likes. Even if they are using gas to provide their own energy, it's still not efficient because they are doing it on their own. Imagine we set up a cluster where we have earmarked different zones in that cluster. We have an IPP that provides power. We have a company or a private sector investor that provides security, that provides water, effluent and waste management. Then that cluster will be able to enjoy economies of scale that will be passed on to the companies that will be there. And because we are the true gateway state, we are really at the center of everything when it comes to distribution and logistics. So these economic development clusters, they are like ready-made industrial estates, so that investors will site their businesses here. We are already the industrial hub or the industrial capital in Nigeria. But it's not just cultivating or producing raw commodities. We want to be able to add value. And that's one of the reasons that the second cluster is the Aerotropolis. The Aerotropolis is essentially called the airport city. What we are building there is not just an airport. In fact, if you look at the economics of airports all over the world, we are also trying to achieve a 2-in-1. Hence, we are going for a much higher standard specifications, which is the cargo airport. And it's an international airport with a Code E license. What that means is that we're not only just going to be doing cargo, but we're also going to obviously fly passengers, definitely. But the bigger part of the airport is the Aerotropolis, is the airport city, is the other zones and components that are within the airport there. So the airport is circa 10,000 hectares, the Aerotropolis. So we have a section there we call the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone. We want to be able to add value to whatever food crops or cash crops that are produced or cultivated in Ogun State. We want to add value to it because if you look at the differential between the raw commodities and valued products, sometimes it's almost times 10 in value terms. And also having this SAPZ, the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone, will also ensure that we have a capacity here. We're going to be able to employ our people here. And we're also using the strategy to drive down the cost of production such that as you produce at the SAPZ zone, if the products are for export, your next door, you take it out without having to go through Lagos traffic. That's number one. We're also having the logistics and distribution hub as another zone within the airport. So for those of you who are in the business of distribution or logistics, we have a lot of land there for you to come and lease or buy. Because in that particular zone, we're having the warehouses. The companies, you wonder, why do they need to have their warehouses in their factories? When they can produce, and then they come and put it in that warehouse. We're going to have a trailer hub there as well, where all of the trucks, would also be there, and we provide all the facilities in that particular zone. We're going to have a zone for light manufacturing, for greenhouses, and of course for all of the security agencies. What I can say is that since this airport started about 2 years ago, or about 3 years ago, when we brought it back on the radar and started doing all the planning, revalidating the business case, the amount of interest that we have seen is unprecedented. So what this tells me is preparation meets opportunities. If you don't take the first step, nobody is going to come and support you. Just recently, about 2 weeks ago, we signed an MOU for a first phase investment of $400 million, one of which will be used for some parts of the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone, and the second, of course, for the development of the Olokola Free Trade Zone. With all of these very ambitious economic development programs that we are putting in place, if you do not reform the government institutions, they will all amount to a waste. So one of the things we're doing as well is to reform the government institutions. So since the beginning of this administration, we have passed 38 laws. 38 laws to strengthen the institution, to provide transparency, accountability. For instance, we did the Fiscal Responsibility Commission, Bureau for Public Procurement, Business Environment Council, Ogun State Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency. Even the Public-Private Partnership, Law and Office, was also set up. We also established some new ministries, Ministry of Transport. How can we be the gateway state in Nigeria and we don't even have a Ministry of Transportation? How? How are we going to be able to plan and take advantage of a key resource and advantage that we have as a state? So we set up the Ministry of Transportation, and the next thing we did was to conduct a strategic transport intervention plan, which again revalidated that for you to truly be a gateway state and take advantage of it, you must stand on all fours. You must have the road, very smooth road, very efficient road, that will reduce the cost of transportation of our goods. You must have bridges as well, Rail is also another one. Of course, the airport and also the seaport. And that's why we have to truly develop all of these things. I mean, these are huge capital investments, but with our public-private partnership office and also from our investor roadshows and reach and networks that we have, we are on a trajectory that truly, in less than 3 years, all the development programs that have happened in this administration is seriously unprecedented. In addition to that as well, we've done a lot of public sector reforms, judiciary reforms, financial management reforms, because one of the things that is also very critical, for a state to be economically viable, you must develop the state to be able to generate revenue. And not only generate revenue, but generate revenue in a very efficient and sustainable way. Particularly when you realize that the money coming from the center is significantly on the decrease. I mean, with 4 trillion naira of subsidies, you know, the federal government allocation on a monthly basis on the decrease. So we need to put Ogun State on a very solid economic pedestal. And that's why we have embarked on several financial management reforms that have seen our IGR move from 50 billion naira in 2020 to 100 billion naira in 2021. And we are on course to deliver at least 130 billion naira this year. And what have we done differently? We've strengthened and reformed these institutions so as to block leakages and make it very efficient. Number 2, we've introduced a lot of digital transformation initiatives. One of them that I think will be of interest to you, we recently launched our OLAMS platform. OLAMS is Ogun State Land Administration and Revenue Management Systems. So now it's possible that you can buy land in Ogun State from anywhere in the world, and you don't have to pay a dime to any public servant or any public government official. And what we've done essentially is to bring all the estates we have recently created, laid out properly. We're working with private sector partners to provide infrastructure in these estates, whether they are residential estate, commercial estate, or industrial estates. And then put them on the platform. You do your registration online, you make your payment online, you get your allocation online, and ultimately, we want to even dematerialize CFO. The same way the issue of share certificate is dematerialized. I mean, abroad, has anybody seen a CFO that moves around in Western countries? You simply just have a digital register, so that you can even authenticate these CFOs. You can reduce the incidence of fake CFOs. So that's where we're going ultimately, but we're taking the steps gradually. In just less than 3 months, we have over 7,000 applicants that have registered on OLAMS. Now they can buy directly from government. Now they don't have to face the challenges of Omonile or land grabbers or encroachers. This is our own oil. The land is our oil. And part of the reasons we're developing these economic development clusters is to capture the value in this massive real estate. So the Aerotropolis is about 10,000 hectares. We have another economic development cluster we just created in Magoro. Magoro is just behind MFN. We have a whole 12,500 hectares there that we're developing the first phase of 2,500. If you can bring all these companies to come and site here, we can develop mixed-use real estate, provide infrastructure. We would have achieved one of our key objectives of attracting people to come and live, work, and play in Ogun State so that we can begin to tax them. And we reduce also the challenges of transportation. Because if your workplace is right within the cluster, it means you don't have to travel far, you know, to go from your office to home. So those are some of the things we're also doing as well. We've created several agencies like Ogun State Waste Management Authority, which was not present before. We created Ogun State Public Works Agency, that used to be the Public Works Agency. We've also unbundled the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development as well into Ogun State Planning and Development Permit Authority, Ogun State Planning and Development, Ogun State Slum Regeneration Authority, and then we've created new agencies like Bureau for Public Procurement, Bureau of Statistics, Debt Management Office, and we reinvigorated the Security Trust Fund. Some time ago, I listened to some ex-governor that said they left, in one of the states in the southeast, left 70-something billion naira. And that was meant to be, clap. And I was like, really? Is it that we don't have enough to do? In government, the biggest challenge is execution. Implementation is the biggest challenge. And so, in order to help our implementation, we also recently created government delivery units as well. And then we're also doing quite a lot of reforms in that area. In addition to all of this, I think, how do we take advantage of all these opportunities? We have established a compendium of investment opportunities in Ogun State. I think some of those booklets would have gone round. That compendium essentially just highlights all the investment opportunities across different sectors. The first is the industrial investment opportunities, throwing light on some of these economic development clusters. And your first point of call is to write a letter or an expression of interest to our public-private partnership office. That's number one. Number two, of course, is agriculture opportunities. Since the beginning of this administration, and our collaboration with the Central Bank, we have implemented what is the Anchor Borrowers Program. And we have created over 50,000 agri-entrepreneurs. And the way that's been done is to facilitate a collaboration between these young entrepreneurs and also the processing companies, the big companies like Flour Mill, like Nestle, like Guinness, and all of that. So that these young farmers can be properly trained. We can also get the central bank funding to give them input and provide extension services. And the government responsibility is that we give them land. So we have converted and cleared land, agricultural land, for a lot of our youth that are interested in farming. And we've not just done that, we've also linked them to companies that will offtake whatever they have produced. And this program alone has generated over 50,000 youth farmers. Now, the question is that because of the huge amount of land we have, and also because of the huge forest reserves that we have as well, there are huge opportunities for us to be able to take advantage in agriculture. Once the land is obtained, is cleared, then the Central Bank of Nigeria can provide the much needed financing. And then we also link you with those companies that will help you provide inputs and also teach you the best practices in agriculture and cultivation generally. The second one is that the third one is the massive infrastructural development that is going on also portends an opportunity for a lot of our capable private sector investors locally here and also in other parts of Nigeria to partner with the foreign investors we're bringing on board. A lot of these foreign companies do not have local knowledge and experience. So as local companies, you need to position yourselves to partner with these foreign companies by providing local content and local knowledge It may even just be in terms of facilitation or some other local services as well. Because when you partner with these foreign companies, not only will there not be transfer of skills and knowledge, you can also take advantage of the investment that they will bring, and ultimately you can be part of the vehicles that they are setting up to do these investments. Finally, I think the revolution that is happening in the state at the moment, which is anchored on massive infrastructure development, improvement in state government internally generated revenue, provision of adequate security, and all the works and efforts were put in place with respect to ease of doing business through the establishment of the Business Environment Council that helps to remove all the red tapes and the bottlenecks in government processes to fasten or to fast track the issuance of licenses and permits, be it for construction, for registration of business, or issuance of certificates of occupancy and the rest of it. And then also the establishment of Ogun State Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency, I think are some of the things that we have put in place to make it easy for our people to take full advantage of all of these developments that we have seen just in less than 3 years under this administration. This infrastructure that we're talking about is one that we all need to key into. I mean, we lost the opportunity of Olokola with the transfer of Dangote refinery and petrochemicals industry to Lagos, but we still have a coastline. The Olokola Free Trade Zone is that particular area is a free trade zone, but it also is the deepest, has a natural deepest draft of almost 20 meters, natural, in this country. So the question is that we cannot claim to want to do anything significant in the area of seaport activities without finding a lasting solution to Olokola Free Trade Zone. And so I'm very pleased that the investor that we have recently signed an MOU with is planning to invest in the redevelopment of that particular port. And just imagine that as a true gateway state, we also fix our rail line. So there are plans as we speak to extend both the red line and the blue line from Lagos into Ogun State. There are also plans to extend the purple line that will stop at Redeem to the airport as well. All of these are currently under discussions with the government of Lagos State through the Lagos Ogun Joint Development Commission that was recently set up between His Excellency and also the Mr. Governor of Lagos State. We believe that when it comes to transportation, road has its own use, but as a true gateway state, where we have a large concentration of industries, then we have to have a plan for a rail project that will connect different parts of the state as well, that will not only carry passengers, but will use to also do cargo as well at some point. So, on this note, I want to encourage all of us, investors, locals, to please spread the gospel of the new Ogun State. In less than 3 years that we have done over 400 kilometers of road. It is unprecedented. Unprecedented. And when you look at even the interchange that we have recently just completed by the Ebe Ijebu and over the Shagamu Benin, it's a proper interchange. It's not just a gadao proper interchange, you know, that will ease the free flow of traffic and prevent accidents as well. And we're still doing all of these, and very, very soon we're going to be commissioning our 2050 infrastructure master plan for Ogun State. 2050, so that we can begin to show our people, look at how Ilisan will look like in 2050. Look at how Abeokuta will look like in 2050. Because if you don't plan, if you don't have this long-range vision, you can't achieve anything. All of your efforts will be haphazard. A lot of us, we go to Dubai, and we go to their museum, and they show us Dubai, Sheikh Zayed Road in 1960, only 2 skyscrapers. In 1980, 10 skyscrapers. In 2000, the whole place. It is planning. The problem with our people is that we are so impatient. Sometimes we do not abide by laws. We also take the shortcut all the time. And so that's why when we put in place this 2050 master plan for our infrastructure development, people will be able to key into it and see what the future holds for them, and begins to also give a promise of a secured future, of a developed future, so that our youth will not only be aiming to travel abroad, but sit here to take advantage of these opportunities and be here to develop the state jointly. Thank you very much.
We put those ends together better for the beautiful architectural design that has been made for the economy and the infrastructure of Ogun State. If we are doing that happy, please let's do it better. It is not easy. In less than 4 years, this achievement has been there, and we're looking forward to more. Before we continue with the program this afternoon, I have the singular honor to welcome and recognize our own Otumba Lateef Owóyẹmí, a past president of ICANN, a past president of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Thank you so much. We are honored by your presence. I also have the honor to introduce and recognize Major General Adekunle Adeyinka, the Director of Movements, Nigeria Army. Please, wherever you are, stand for recognition. Let's welcome you into this hall. Thank you so much, sir, for honoring this invitation. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to also bring on our chairman of the occasion, our own sir. I call him sir because I know he's an elder statesman. The man that has been in charge of the administration of RJDF in the last how many years. Sir, at this juncture, we want to hear from you. We want to know what you have for us. Our own sir, Sholari, will step forward and give us what you have for us, sir.
Well, I think that you've done me a very big honor this afternoon. According to the program, I'm supposed to give opening remarks. But luckily for me, they skipped it. When I heard the other functionary was going to speak, I said, I've seen a lot of wahala. Because I was here to listen to him. I'm here to listen to him, not only to listen to myself. And I think you can do me a favor. You allow me to blow my mind big time. And you're going to join me all over to give him a real applause. Standing. Ogun State has got them. Please see that. Please see that. Please see that. Many decades ago, I happened to read a comics with all the other management and things like that. I listened to him, and he rekindled in me. I don't know whether you know what Professor Ojetunji Aboyade. That is the incarnation of Aboyade. Now let me just cut off this. This is my emotion about this gentleman. Let me go to the point. Let me observe all the protocols. His Royal Highness Kabisi over MOM Shunga, the Odofin of Ilisan, my dear father, and proudly say publicly, my senior friend and mentor. I want to declare publicly, I have a personal relationship with Kabisi. So it doesn't look as if I'm one of his sons. Kadipelleri sir, very proud of you, sir. Lord, man, take care, my Didiwa. Now, I'm not sure whether we have any royal father here, apart from His Royal Highness. But let me go to, I have a speech here, prepare speech for this occasion. But having listened to Professor Ogubadejo, I don't want to spoil the day by making any speech again. But we need time to discuss, digest his paper. This is very, very serious. Let me also recognize, so I don't have any call. I deliberately call his name. The Aso Rock, or the Villa, Aso Villa, or the President Villa of Ilisan. President in council, President Yemi Adifu. It's within this case, so don't think that I'm making anything up in Axel or in Optimus or something. But Prince Yemi Adifu does not know how to do it. That's one of his weaknesses. And his wife is my witness. He doesn't know how to do anything in half. He doesn't know how to do anything equivocally. His own is cut and dry. You know where he stands on anything. And that's why he has put up this quality performance today. Just look at the audience, look at the quality of the speakers, look at the team he brought us today. For me to be here today, he has been pumping me for over 2 months. I'm sorry, the lecturer talked about it. But if you notice something unique about the presentation, you know, he had notes. He spent exactly 38 minutes in his speech. 38 minutes. No, he really did not look at his. He was just glancing through the notes. I was studying him, people like that. He said, what is he reading? Why is he reading this thing? He said, I found that he was just flipping through. He was reading really extempore. Again, what do you expect? A global accountant, leader in his field, KPMG, international partner, not global partner, before he came down. So that's what. I know that in protocol, I need to include the mover and shaker of all the roads and bridges and canals and everything in Ogun State. That's my dear Guru Ade Akisanya. He said quite a lot about him. I can vouch, I can tell you that is very correct. Everything you say about him. I called him several times, challenged him several times, asking him what is this, and he had come up tops. But one particular day, I called him to say, this bypass between in Shagamu from the express to Baku or to Lafayette, that road is not in a good place. What's happening there? I went through what we are doing and things like that within a short time. And you know what he did after that? Where are you? I said, I'm in Lagos. I will come there now to go and check. Can you guys go to meet me? You know, within 10 minutes, I got somebody who said that won't have to be around. I don't know whether you have a time with this and I did Akisoya, met him, and we went around for about 30 minutes down and up the road. I never met him at that time. I just called him. I got his number. I just called him. That's kind of civil service performance, world class service I got from the meeting. But this afternoon too, after your meeting, some commissioners. I met the commissioner for transport. I'm on the director general of BP. I met the Otubadairo is commissioner. No, that's for transportation, and that is sorry. Oh, yeah, just one more. Oh, you were sitting down there. I didn't know. I only read my newspaper. I never saw him in person. Oh, yeah. Okay. So you and that were. Thank you. Now, thank you very much. I think I'm done. I'm sure I missed some people. Of course, Raymond GDF team is here. Quite a lot of my colleagues from Raymond Growth and Development Foundation are here. Just go. Okay. Sorry, I didn't know that. Well, the big girls are really here. You can trust him. I mean, he doesn't do anything now. He's got the whole cabinet who will sit here. Sorry, in case you want to have an ESCO, you know, we just package the clothing for you to go and have your time. Well, sometimes you know this is the government is not here, but you know they can do it by online now. You can stream, and they have I'm sure you can't. You already have enough pool to have an ESCO. But that's the only thing to do for you. Now, let me quickly say that some of my friends here from Raymond GDF, you know, I have a historical tradition with Ilisan. People didn't know that. Right from my youth. I have my senior, Mr. Oremosu here. Many years ago, former president of Ilisan Club, my big uncle, right from when I was a kid, he brought me up. I was glad to see him after 20 years or 30 years this afternoon. Then, of course, some members of Raymond GDF, Gidi Ogunkwaya, Wole Awe, I also think we have Samuel Kujimi, then we have Sholo Bishoel, Tony Oshibodu. Quite a lot of Raymond GDF people are here. Dr. Moboli, yes, of course. Well, that's the ex-head, another professor when it comes to economics and finance and investment. Now, let me just digress a bit. As I said, I had a long speech that I'm taking a lot of time talking, but I want to talk about Raymond GDF because the key thing about Raymond GDF is Raymond Growth and Development Foundation. We don't do anything too exciting, but we got our heads screwed up properly for what is good for the essential economic development of Raymond Land itself. We have a 145-page, 20-year development plan for all the four towns in Raymond, and we are on course to see how we can link the Ogun State 50-year plan to what we are doing. In fact, we got already about 3 years ago, and we shared with the governor, we shared with the honorable commissioner. We didn't see there was any similarity to what they've done now, but I can tell you, when the deep talk to the deep, the same fundamentals are what they're driving, what we're taking from and what they're doing. So we are ready to do business with the state government as far as this area of the state is concerned, to develop the state, because we have commonality of interest. I also want to mention the incredible things that are happening in Remo as far as economic development is concerned. One, and I say this choosing my words, no exaggeration at all, as it is. In the whole of this country, there's no area of this country that has a unique future of Remo in terms of economic potential. In fact, not realizable economic potential right now. And thank you. I'm referring to the interchange. The uniqueness of the interchange is what Ogun State government is keen on. The interchange is not a hub, it is a corridor. Please think about it. Think about the whole country. No part of this country has a center where you go from there to the north, which like from that interchange to Ibadan to the north, from that interchange to the east, that's towards Djibouti and Benin. From that interchange, you go to the south, that's where you go to Lagos. From that interchange, you go to the west, that's where you go towards Abeokuta and to the border. So what we got there is a corridor plus a hub, and the economic potential there is amazing. Chris Adefuga talked about the SPDZ, which is a really specialized agricultural domain zone. There's a testing center for agricultural products which we put there. There's a gas pipeline there already, and you can see industries falling over themselves. So we're just saying that is an area of Remo in which we are very, very particular about development. Most industries there now are multinational industries, brought there purely on the economic merit, global standard. Now this government has done something to us. In fact, we tend to say, is it really happening? Is it true? The fantastic project on the cargo airport. The cargo airport is a seismic change in the whole, in fact, in the economic development of the whole of Ogun State, not Remo alone. But we want to take advantage of it. We have so many opportunities that could be there for us to key into. So much work to be done there, and we are ready to key in to support the government and take advantage of these developments. Of course, it's part of the clusters that we mentioned. Now, I want to stop here because we're going to have a discussion. I want to thank the organizer for this opportunity to share my views about this. We're now going to start discussion. We have 3 discussants. We have my dear daughter, Joy Mountain. Well, I was just telling her, I didn't know her, but I knew her father probably 35 years ago. Seeing her, that I would have known her. But happy to see her here. She's going to be one of the discussants. And I think I have my dear Bruno Ade also going to be part of the discussants. The speech given by Professor Ubadijo, I think I mentioned it. I've covered so many things. I made some notes. Very quickly, we started with employment generation, poverty alleviation, food security, private sector participation. The share, the acronym is really very, very intelligent, very clear, very practical. Anybody can say it. know what it means, infrastructure, social welfare, education, youth, and culture. Very simple. You can read the syllabus in the school, study. There is mentioned the way, well, everything around the Lagos factor, incredible. They know the only thing they are doing in the state today. They have certificates collecting everything they are doing. They didn't just stumble into Lagos. They have a plan to open up Lagos. They have a plan to open up this, what do you call it now, the corridor, the border town. Really incredible plan. There's synergy there, and I think that you made that point very clearly. Then the economic development clusters, huge plan. These are visionaries. These are not 4-term, 8-term people. These are long-term marathon who are thinking for 20, 30-year generation. I think they can be there for forever. Now, having said that, I want to just I have other points I made here, but I'm going to ask Ade to come in and jump in and lead us through the discussion. So that's this specific is concerned. I'm sure you have some 5 minutes. After that, we'll have Joy give us some.
Good afternoon, everybody. In the interest of time, I'll probably just sit on the existing protocol. But I need to say thank you to Prince Adefulu, because when he brought up the idea of I'm going to be here, I said, what am I doing here? On a 3-day weekend. But I'm glad I'm here, because this brought some memory back. When I used to be at New Flower, I spent a lot of time in Ilisan. So thank you for that. October, thank you also. One thing I want to probably key on, and the KBC, one thing I want to key on is our new professor, Okubadejo, has covered a lot of things, especially as the state relates to Nigeria and to the world. But I want to bring it down to election and relative to other areas in the state. What is going on? If you take an example of a road under construction right now, the road is certain amount. The contractor is not going to do everything by himself. Our new professor said the indigenous people, the material, they are coming from the area. So if you imagine I'm getting paid 10 naira a day, I have to buy food somewhere. So the economic benefit of that road is not only to the contractor, but to everybody in that community. So that's how, whatever we are doing in this area, the airport, the Ilisan, the road going on in Peru, they are all contributing to the economy of this area. Whenever we do a project, we do the analysis. The first thing we do is, if a project costs 1 billion, you look at the analysis of, okay, what's the benefit to the people? How much is it going to bring into that community? So that's part of the requirement that is SLSC requires to justify how we are going to improve the life, the quality of life of people there, improve the security. Those are the side benefits, but they go a long way. It's not only a one-time thing, but it's for the future growth of everybody. One thing talking about is also the relationship to Lagos State. When it's Excellency, the first set of road we did when it's Excellency came on board is the road leading from Alimosho area to Ogun State, the Navy Collar and Osi Road. Those are the first 2 major projects we did because we recognize the importance of the linkage between the Lagos State and Ogun State, the benefit, what is going to come in. And as you can see, a lot of the roads we are doing right now, the is the same thing. Now, if you are coming from VI, going to the south-south, or going to southeast or north, it takes less than 10 minutes to travel from Epe to Jebode, and you can go that east or west from that area. So those are the side benefits of things coming up. But at the same time, it improves security and mobility of people moving around. The economic benefit, once that is started, when the economic benefit is being realized now, the clusters in that area is going to generate thousands of jobs. Because you have a big multi-industry coming into that area, there will be smaller indigenous community to support those people also. So what I would expect people to be doing right now is getting the information, whatever we are doing, and planning how they can benefit from it. Because some of these companies, they need people to supply things, they need to provide employment, people to employ. And luckily, today, we have all the key people from the Ogun State ESCO members that can provide that information. So I would suggest, if you're into business or anything, link up with all the commissioners here, or the DG, or the SA. They can help to provide information on where the state is going in different areas. Whatever is going on here, I think they mentioned the rail. That's going to transform the state a lot. Because if you imagine coming from Ota area, going through the red line or the blue line also coming in, you can live in Abeokuta and walk in Lagos less than 15 minutes. I think it's the purple line coming from going to Shagamu or the north. So if you join that, so you can imagine you are living in Peru or in Ilisan or in Kenya, get on the train, within 20 minutes you're in Lagos, do your business, you're back here. You can do a lot within that time frame. So the opportunity for the growth of the state and Nigeria is tremendous, it's very high. But it all depends on everybody in this room and the whole country. So I would probably encourage everybody to start looking around opportunity what they need to do. And probably I'll leave it that way right now, and if there are more questions, I'll be able to focus on individual thing.
For that information that we've just gotten from the horse's mouth. Right now, we're going into the next discussion. This is the first time a woman will be talking. And I'm very sure that she's going to step up the game to the extent that she has to knock out all the men that have spoken. So ladies and gentlemen, permit me to bring on that building guru, that real estate person, that facilitator that is going to give us what and what we stand to benefit in our state in terms of real estate. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make points and let's all spin down our questions. So when it is question and answer time, we'll be welcoming our questions. Thank you once again. God bless you.
I want to say thank you. I'm honored to be here, and I would like to perhaps give my first greeting to the Olofing of Ilisan. It's my first time in Ilisan, I have to tell you today, and I'm honored to be here. I also want to say thank you to the dignitaries that are here. I've listened very happily to information that affects me positively and will change the way that my business, for example, takes shape from today. I'm aware, I don't know, I should maybe tell you, my name is Joy Ayonote, and I run CRSL, it's Construction Recruitment Solutions Limited. And for some strange reason, I'm not from Ogun State. I don't reside in Ogun State, well, not just yet. I'm building my house now, my own personal house. But I love Ogun State because when I started or fell into the property market Lagos was not attainable for me, even though I was born and I live in Lagos. But it was too expensive for the types of property that I wanted to build and for my target market, which was first-time buyers, 25 to 35. So pricing was a big issue for me. And then I started to be told about Ogun State as far back as 19 years ago. So I made time to research various parts of Ogun State. And perhaps without boring you too much, I want to say, perhaps as a testimony or back up to what the Honorable Commissioner of Finance said, how infrastructure changes everything and can make life pleasant. Because when you go into business, you want to be successful, you want to, have profits. And so people were saying, run this past me, you are building in where? Ogun State came. Ogun State. You left Lagos, you passed all these areas, Magodo, and you're in Ogun State. I'm like, yes. They couldn't understand it. And it had to be seen. So my biggest challenge was perhaps persuading them to come to see Shagamu, to see Ewoliwo, to see, to see, various, state towns within that were only going through the regeneration. Prior to that, they were cassava farms, mostly farmlands, and you had villages settled. But until perhaps the Lagos boys and some of the Ogun boys started to go into real estate and had their marketing strategy right, people started to come. The marketing was good, it was persuasive, and they started to come. Initially, it was people who did not earn a lot. But funny enough, you had diasporans, a high number of people abroad that were buying very cheap. They saw the potential, and when we talk about the Shagam interchange, for example, they saw a lot of values and what will be if the infrastructure started to come. So I have to say that I am particularly happy with the Governor Dapo Abiodun's regime, because that was when I started to see the roads, because when I came it was potholes, there weren't tarred roads, and if you just look at maybe going close to areas around the refinery, for example, you know that right from the interchange to Abeokuta, it's